get a room for like the next 100 years.
Hey guys, Tim Arnwine here, the long-haired ghost hunter, author of Ghost Hunting Getting Started, co-founder of Ghostly Experiences. Now, welcome to Ghost Hunting Getting Started, episode 1. Now, if you missed the first one, the introduction, you didn't get a chance to meet Sammy. Hey, Sammy, how you doing? Okay. What? Video? Oh. Is the inn as real as the ghost costume? Well, yeah. I filmed that at the New River Inn. New River Inn is part of the History Fort Lauderdale. It was the first inn on the river in Fort Lauderdale. Now, I've investigated this place dozens of times, and it's active. So the inn is real. The ghost costume, probably not, but good observation. So for episode 1, we're going to be talking about ghost hunting terms, why ghosts stay, and forms of ghosts. Okay? Now, for thousands of years, there have been tales of ghosts through every religion and culture. And for us, the most widely used term is ghost hunting. Now, a lot of people will say paranormal investigation, but paranormal encompasses, everything like UFOs, cryptids, things like that. Okay, so we're going to talk about ghost hunting. Now, there's 2 different theories, ghosts, spirits. Ghost comes from the 16th century Old English for Gast, Germanic origin. Now, ghosts have passed, but they haven't gone to the light. They usually have to be recognized and encouraged to go to the light to find peace. Spirit. Now, spirit comes from the Latin for breath. Now, spirits have passed also, but they can visit from the light. Okay. They will usually visit loved ones, friends. They may even visit strangers if they find comfort or a connection. All right. So let's get started. Why do ghosts stay? There's 4 reasons. 1, they have unfinished business, which means they have unfulfilled purposes, goals. They may want to stay with loved ones. 2, they're confused. It basically means they don't know they're dead. It might have been a quick, unexpected death. Okay. Now, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Now, when I started, I would never say the word dead or passed during the investigation because I was there to get evidence. It sounds selfish, I know, but by the end of the night, I would say, listen, you've died, you've passed, you can move on. Can we help you? Okay. 3rd, they may want to just help, consult, help loved ones, friends. They usually do this during sleep. And the 4th one is fear. They stay because maybe they weren't so good in life. Maybe they did something really bad. And they just fear the judgment that's waiting for them. All right. Now, what are the forms of ghosts? There's 4 of them. You have your visible. Now, visibles, you can see maybe something out of the corner of your eye, peripheral. You might see it head on. That's rare, but it happens. The most common visible is shadow people. Now, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen numerous shadow people over my years. They usually are looking over something, looking around something, just checking in, curious. I've never really had a negative experience with a shadow person. Maybe others have. Okay. Your next form is audible. Now they can produce names, pleas for help, familiar sounds. Okay. Next one is perfume. Now, perfume forms come from, they're sensed in the olfactory, which means smells. Okay. Now, the smells can range from repugnant to sweet. Okay. They are very, very common. Perfume forms are very common with residuals. The most common is flowers, tobacco, perfume. And the last one is dream. Now, they can obviously come in dreams or meditation. Now, usually I hear a lot of stories from people. And usually one of the big ones is, my dad came to me in a dream. I think that's their least energy way. Remember, they want to be recognized. So maybe they're reaching out to you in a dream. Now, if you blow them off, I always say they might just push the envelope of their energy and try to get recognized by doing other things, like, touching you, making something move. Okay, that doesn't mean they're evil. They're just trying to get your attention. Okay, so that's the forms of ghosts. Okay, what? Why long hair ghost hunter? Okay, it's simple. At my age, if I cut my hair, it just might not grow back. So I don't risk it. All right. So it's as simple as that. All right. Now, if you missed my introduction, I'm a retired paramedic. Safety is very important for me. So every week I'm going to include a first aid tip, just so you're prepared. Okay. So here's your first aid tip of the week. And check it out.
All right, let's close her up. Relax. Let's catch up. Can I get some fries? Oh yeah, by the way, here's your first aid tip of the week.
So like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've investigated some unique places, abandoned prisons, abandoned hospitals, abandoned buildings, cemeteries, all those, including households and functioning businesses. There's always a risk of injury because, you're wandering around the dark. You're usually in a new place, so you might not know where something's placed, or some might just be sticking out. So, like I said, safety is real big for me. So I always carry a jump bag or a first aid kit with me. And over the years, I have treated myself, I've treated teammates, I've treated guests, I've treated clients. So I always want to be prepared. So for the first show, we're going to be real basic. I want you to be prepared. So I'm just going to go through what I have in my jump kit. And hopefully you'll have a jump kit, make one up for yourself. Okay. So now when you're talking about emergencies, there's two groups. There's trauma and medical. Okay. Trauma can be something from a simple cut to a deep laceration. It could be sprain, strain, fractures. So we're going to talk about all that. The medical side gets a little more specific. You could have sugar emergencies, blood sugar emergencies. You could have allergic reactions. You could have things like heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and we're going to get into all that. Now, when we're covering medical, I will go through the signs and symptoms so it will give you an idea of what you're looking for. All right. So let's go through the basics. What you should start with, scissors, in case you have to cut away clothing. Okay. Hemostats, in case I have to pull out a splinter or something. Now, this is a big rule. We're going to go through it more, but it's very important that I want to go through it now just so you're aware of it. If you have something sticking out of your body, something large, like a stick or a piece of metal, something like that, that's called impaled. Never, ever remove an impaled object. Because you don't know, maybe it cut an artery and it's stopping the bleeding because it's there. If you remove it, you can have problems. We're gonna talk about how to gauze it down and wrap it in place and then call rescue. Okay. Now, gloves are important. These are, rubber gloves with latex. I like these because they go on and off real easily. Some people are allergic to latex, so I carry non-latex, non-rubber gloves. Okay. So I always keep them just in case someone has that allergy. All right, let's get into trauma. Now, course, your most simple is a simple cut. Someone gets cut. Most groups will carry water bottles on an investigation. If it's possible, you can poke some holes in the caps, squeeze it over the wound to try to get rid of the debris, damp it off with some gauze, Neosporin, Band-Aid. Okay. Band-Aids, very basic. Now, if the cut's a little bigger, you could use gauze. Okay. Now you have two types. You have sterile gauze, and this is called loaf gauze, which basically it's a loaf of gauze. It's non-sterile, but you can grab a bunch at a time. Now, if the cut is not bleeding a lot and you just want to get it covered, you can take the sterile gauze, remove it gently, without touching where it's going over the wound, cover it, and it'll be sterile. Then just tape it over. Okay. If there's a lot of bleeding and you got to control the bleeding, grab loaf gauze, because you can grab a lot, slap it on the wound, slap more on the wound. And we'll talk about all that when we talk about dressing wounds. Okay. Now you can tape it in place, or if you have someone who's hairy as I am, you can use gauze, roll gauze. Now, if you don't buy roll gauze in bulk, they usually come in this sterile packaging. Okay, this is a smaller roll, larger roll. Okay, dress it, wrap it. Now, if it doesn't take the whole roll to wrap it, that's fine. Just cut it off, tape it, and you got some for the next time. All right. Now, anything that is arm or shoulder, you might want to use the triangle bandage. You take this out, obviously it folds into a triangle. You can use it as a sling or a swath, and we'll talk about that when we get into it. All right. Ace bandages. Ace bandages are real good for wrapping splints, a swath, or if you got a wound and it's still oozing a little blood, you want to put a little more pressure on it to, have it there. Put an ace bandage on. Don't wrap it too tight that you cut off circulation. And I'll tell you about how to look for that. All right. Now, it's always advisable when you treat an injury, a trauma injury, put ice. So I always carry gallon bags. Most groups will carry, especially if it's a outdoor investigation, they'll carry a cooler with some ice in it. Put ice in it, put it on the wound. Okay. Another rule. We'll go over it, but it's real important. Never put ice directly on skin. Okay, it'll burn the tissue. Either wrap, gauze around the bag or put a little extra layer of gauze. It won't really affect how the ice works. Okay. So we'll talk about that as we go along. All right. Now, like I said, for the medical side, medical is very specific. Okay. So let's say you had a team member, they worked all day, they didn't get a chance to go to lunch, and they rushed to the investigation. Now they're feeling pretty dizzy. They're acting a little funny. Okay. Now, if they're real alert and they're just acting dizzy, say, hey, listen, why don't you go get a Coke or get a juice or have a snack? Bring that sugar up. If they're less alert and you don't want to risk putting anything that they might swallow wrong, like a soda or something, I always carry sugar packets. Now, sugar packets are cool because you break it open, you put it under the tongue. Now, if you put it under the tongue, it gets in the bloodstream a lot quicker than through the digestive system. All right. Now, don't worry if this person is having what we call a hyperglycemic emergency. One sugar packet's not going to make a big difference. All right. Another big emergency, which is dire, okay, is allergic reactions. Some people are allergic to certain types of foods, some insects. Some are allergic to, some flowers, pollen, things like that. Now, if you have a person on your team or someone in the group and they have this kind of history, they may carry this, an EpiPen. Now, EpiPens or epinephrine. And remember, when we talk about this, I'm going to give you signs and symptoms of allergic reaction. This is a trainer. It says trainer right on it. I just want to show you. The blue side is a plunger. Pull it up. Needle. Plug it in the thigh. Inject it. Okay. Now, 2012 Medicines Act said anybody can give an EpiPen, especially if someone has one on them, just grab it and you know how to do it. Okay. But we will talk about signs and symptoms, because if you give Epi to something that's not allergies, you might, there could be arrhythmias, cardiac arrhythmias, but we'll cover all that. All right. Now, another emergency could be, especially Florida, it's very hot, it's very humid. You can have heat exhaustion. Now, heat exhaustion is there's profuse sweating. They're feeling dizzy, a little off their game. If they're sweating and acting like that, just get them in a cool spot. If they're acting like that, but they're not sweating and it's more pronounced, the dizziness, nauseous, things like that, that's a dire emergency. That is heat stroke. Take your ice, put ice in it, put it down, armpits, groin, call rescue right away. All right. And we'll go through some other medical emergencies as we're going along. All right. So that's your first aid tip. Let me change something real quick. So that's your first aid tip of the week. Now we're going to go through one every week. We'll talk about control bleeding, dress wounds. We'll just go down the line. All right. Then I hope you can try to put a jump kit together, just to be prepared. All right. Now here's another tip. This is purely choice. This is a team choice. I did it for my team years ago. I always had a little medical history of every member. Okay. Their medical history, what they took, what they're allergic to. Okay. And I kept it in a little book, and it was on me all the time. I didn't show it around. And if you have people, I had a couple who were very privacy driven. So I would assign them a number. And I'd say, do me a favor, you're going to be number 2. Put number 2 on a piece of paper in your wallet. That way, if I forget, I can open your wallet and say, oh, yeah, John. Okay, 2. Okay. I know he's allergic to iodine. Because if, God forbid something happens and you have to call rescue, you can tell them at least the allergies and medical history. And it'll help them, especially if they're unconscious. Because if not, they're going to have to find family members. That's going to waste time. So like you said, that's just a suggestion. Okay. So this is our first episode, so we don't really have any comments, questions, or tips. If you guys do want to send some in, send them in to longhairghosthunter@gmail.com. All my contact information is below on the banner. Okay. If you guys are in the South Florida area and you want to partake in the Ghostly Experiences Paranormal Boot Camp, reach out to ghostlyexperiences.net. Okay, or Long Hair Ghost Hunter. Okay, and I'll let you know when the next event is. What it is we do like an hour-long class where we talk about how to find investigations, how to conduct investigations. We go over all the tools, but then we go right into an investigation at a historic location that we know is active. So it's we call it learn it, then do it. Now, if you guys are in the South Florida area and you think you're having activity, home, business, whatever, reach out to me, longhairghosthunter@gmail.com, or any of my contacts. I don't charge to come out and do investigations at those locations. I'm just, we're just there to try to find some answers and help people. All right. So I can be found at longhairghosthunter.com, longhairghosthunter@gmail.com. Long Hair Ghost Hunter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Ghostly Experiences Net. The book is on Amazon. Okay. Now don't forget, $9.45 we are going to go live on Long Hair Ghost Hunter YouTube, where you're going to be able to type in questions, comments, or tips, because I think we can always learn from each other and we can have kind of an interaction. All right. So remember, Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock, the episodes will air, and then 9:45 we'll go live on YouTube. So listen, I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, reach out to me. And you guys be safe this week, and we'll see you next week.